Can I wrote some notes?
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive, Andy. It is NFL Week 8. Time flies when you're having fun betting on the NFL, which we are this season. It has been a tremendous amount of fun. Great to see you. Great to handicap this week. Very light week for me so far. And it's not because I'm playing defense trying to protect my stack. I just don't see a lot of edges.
I've never done that. And I know. So Drew has a heart out here eventually. He's on the road doing some work. So I didn't want to hit too many tangents, but that is something probably that we learned early on, was just like, doesn't matter where your bankroll is, doesn't matter where you're doing, stick to your process, bet what you're going to bet. When you're hot, don't bet more. When you're cold, don't bet less.
That's right.
Less games, just
fewer. Yeah,
fewer. Fewer is the right word there. So, yeah, he's doing earthquake stuff. And I still want to tease you on the air about fucking getting Dan threw you under the bus here in the chat. But, yeah, the one time NBC makes a nice little promo clip for you, and then you got freezing cold take, which was just a nightmare, because it's just.
My statement was completely.
Yeah,
my statement was completely rational. Like I was going out on a limb saying I thought Bill Belichick was going to do a good job coordinating defense against Justin Fields. Like, sorry.
I do want to point out though, if there were a freezing cold takes account for earthquake science, they would just be like, they'd be like, oh, fucking good, there wasn't an earthquake. Good, thank God this guy was wrong. So. Yeah, with that.
One other funny wrinkle about that, and I just found it hilarious because that was the most interacted with social media that I've had all fucking year. Even though we've been on fire, we're wrong about a game I didn't even bet. I didn't even bet that game. I didn't even bet that game. But the other funny part about that was, that game was pretty special because it really was Mac Jones versus Justin Fields, a conversation that we had a lot in the run-up to the draft. And as you sit here now, if you had to make a bet about what quarterback is ultimately going to succeed out of that draft class, I mean, is it not Justin Fields?
Yeah, I think so. And we'll talk a little more about that when we get to the Bears. But yeah, like you said, we got about an hour, so this is going to be a briefer one. We're going to rip through games in a hurry, and we're going to start with the Thursday night game where this is a rightful flip favorite. Like the Buccaneers offense is really, really struggling right now, especially the running game. The worst thing about I know. I don't know if it's just the injuries for the Ravens. I love the steam for the. Yeah, I think it's wrong that it flipped back, because not only the worst thing you can do when you have a poor running game, running attack, running scheme, running game plan is to just blindly and stubbornly stick with it on early downs.
True.
There's teams that are doing just fine, completely abandoning the run, and you know what? There's teams that are doing just fine, really leaning on the run, but they're doing it because they're good at it. Like you can't force a skill, with the personnel you have. If you're not good at running the ball, you can try some different things. It might not work out, but if you just keep doing the same shit and doing it on early downs and wasting those, you're going to end up with the offense the Buccaneers trotted out there last week, and that was wild how that under got there. That's not the scoreline I had for that game. Double-digit favorites 2 weeks in a row, essentially lost. I'm staying away from this one completely, just because of I don't know which team to fade more with their offense. Like the Buccaneers with this running attack we're talking about, and the lack of chemistry with Brady and his receivers, or the fact that the Buccaneers or the Ravens have some very troubling injuries. And if the Lamar injury that we're not really hearing much talking about is continuing to be a problem, I could be seriously talked into this under.
Okay. It's gone up.
I know. And that was my question. Why has this total gone up?
I think people are counting on the Buccaneers offense bouncing back. The Ravens defense is not to be trusted. I think that's sort of the vibe I get. Back that this was the bottom. You're anyone buying the Buccaneers right now feels like they're buying the bottom. I mean, freaking Todd Bowles said as much. I think the Ravens have some questions injury wise that are influencing this surely.
There's a decent chance Carolina has
yeah.
a defense than the Ravens right now.
I don't think there's a decent chance. I think that they definitely do. I think they do.
I think that was true before some of the injuries in the secondary.
Okay.
I thought Carolina would take a further step back, but I didn't see it last week. They still played just as well. So you're probably right correcting me there. It's a better it's a worser defense they're going to face this week.
Yeah, and I think I've heard people postulating like, how do we fix things in Tampa? And when the easiest, first obvious thing to do is to stop involving Leonard Fournette.
Save him for the playoffs.
save playoff Lenny for the playoffs. Although this is effectively a playoff game for them because another loss, and all of a sudden Carolina's running away with this division. But we'll save that conversation for later. The Rachaad White as an option seems real here. I don't mind playing some Rachaad White overs. Although like the Ravens front four, those guys are playing up. Clay Campbell still got it. Odafe Owe, he made him. He's been doing well. Jason Pierre-Paul, he's got a point to prove here. So all that said, like I get why people are excited to buy low on the Buccaneers because of this, just the situation that they're in. But Brady in prime time against a good pass rush with a shit offensive line and still no confirmation that Leonard Fournette's not going to be part of the game plan. No, thank you. Easy game to pass for me.
Yeah, I'd lean towards the under, but you're scaring me a little bit with the market's probably still a little high on the Ravens defense, and they've shown that they can be.
Oh yeah, dude, the implied market rating for the Ravens defense is top 5, and that is not correct.
Yeah, I have it like middle 5. Is that a thing? People don't say.
Sure.
That.
They're in that middle 5. Yeah.
They're in the middle 5. All right. Denver, Jacksonville in London. So this game will start a little earlier. We're doing this a bunch. I remember.
All right.
There was a time where they just stopped doing this and they had the London games at Normal's time. It's dumb. I love breakfast football. And
absolutely.
Hey, this was one before the season too, where everyone was, hey, let's get excited about the Jags, the new look Jags, new coach. Let's get excited about Russ, Danger Russ. These teams are 2-5, and London's getting what they usually get in the Jaguars games, except it's also another bad team. Denver brings in arguably the best defense in the league. I mean, the numbers certainly would suss that out if you look at their red zone defense or overall just yards per game, points per drive, yards per drive. Everything is super electric with this defense, but the offense kind of matches those numbers, which is
Did you say it's somewhat limited?
I wonder, it's very limited. Maybe some of these high knees are going to help on the plane. Russ sounds like he's going to play, but I wonder can you imagine? So this offense is horrid, right? I mean,
yes.
It's truly horrid.
Atrocious.
This defense is historically good. I went back and looked at the best teams to finish red zone percentage for a year. Most of the years, it's going to be right around 40 to 45%, which is good, very good.
That's top, right?
Once in a while, the best team in the league. Once in a while, you get somebody that dips below 40, which is crazy. The Broncos are at like 25 right now. If they keep this up, I mean, it's historical. So that's what I'm saying. What does this look like at practice? With this offense having to face this defense. That's the hardest challenge of the week.
Do you have off the top of your head what the red zone offense is for the?
Same. It's 30 seconds. It's like 22%, I think it was.
So impossibly low. So basically, like math would tell you, eventually the offense will regress to the good and the defense will regress to the bad. So at some point, sometime, somewhere, this will be a team that you bet overs on, but not now.
Not yet. I took this
Not
on the Sunday pod. I think I had under 40. Yeah. Hasn't moved a ton because there's a limited amount of space you can move to the under.
It's limited, yeah.
It is very limited. I don't like what they're doing with the run game. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be 100%. No. He doesn't bring much in the running game when he's not 100%. His throws have been questionable, and I think the Jaguars are really going to struggle with this defense.
Yeah.
I've seen the Jaguars offense take some steps back against tougher defenses. So
yeah, nothing about the Broncos offense is dangerous. I would say that in general, the Jaguars defensive players can at least play up at times. They should play up in this spot. Jaguars, they're a young team, but there's a lot more familiarity organization wise with the trip to London than the Broncos. The clips of what Russell Wilson was doing on the plane, tell me that was somebody joking and that wasn't real.
Dude, all he has to do is release a rap album now, and he's hit like the
Tyson Zone.
Yeah, the 5 points of the cringe. So.
What was that real though, or was that somebody?
I'm sure that was real. Like that sounds.
Oh Jesus Christ!
It sounds so.
Okay.
It sounds so on point that it has to be real.
Okay. All right. Well, the Jaguars are an anomaly to me because the EPA statistics would tell you that this is the 7th or 6th best team in the NFL right now, and they're sitting here at 2-5, and they can't beat the fucking Giants, and they can't beat the Colts. So, very frustrated with all of the positive takes I've had for the Jaguars. I feel like they are trending towards just disappointing me all season long, and then blowing doors next season when I don't bet them. That feels like the chemistry I have with these guys right now.
And Dame here in the chat says KJ Hamler confirmed it via Twitter that was real. So thank you, Christ. Dame, and nice game against the Lakers.
What a clown! What a clown!
Yeah, it's rough. It's pretty rough. And then the red zone turnovers have to turn around for the Jags eventually. They can't just keep doing that, but they haven't been great in the red zone otherwise as well, and they're facing a very staunch defense, especially once you get down there. I think the London crowd is going to like what they see because this is going to come down to penalty kicks. It might end up being a field goal contest, that'll be beautiful for them. So
into overtime, 6-6. First field goal.
We go to Pino's.
Overtime wins. Yes. I love it, man. Okay, well, best of luck to all the under players out there. I think that's the right side. I didn't get involved early enough to be serious about this, and I don't especially love the idea of the regression on the defensive side of the ball for the Broncos starting this week.
I might bet some draw no bet.
Shy down. Draw no bet.
Both teams to score. To make soccer
both teams to score, yes.
There we go. Chicago, Dallas. Chicago, what a performance! And I was reading some stuff. I read basically anything that come across my feed from anyone I trust that wrote about the Bears. What do you think the average percentage a quarterback takes off from the pocket is? Like a scramble, it was a drop back, and they run
on what percentage dropbacks?
On what percentage of dropbacks to a quarterback?
8%.
It's only, I thought it was higher too. 4.4 on average.
4.4. Whoa. Okay.
Justin Fields. Now you get to guess Justin Fields' percentage. It is clearly number one. 17.7.
Wow.
So it's not that maybe it's not that the Bears aren't trying to throw the ball more. It's not that the Bears aren't calling throwing plays, passing plays would sound better. He's just taking off a lot, but it's effective. And that's the same thing I said about Tampa. Like, don't force something you ain't good at. And they aren't calling a lot of true, quarterback designed runs for him because I don't think they have to.
Until last week they did.
So and that's the thing. They did call like 10, and a bunch of them worked, but it was working in system or in structure. It was working out of structure. This is a better defense, though. I don't know what to do with this game.
It is. This is a better defense that has athletes that can handle a running quarterback. Let's think through this a little bit. I've been reading a lot of stuff too. I've been trying to kind of flesh out my opinions on this. I think the Bears might be a bet to win the NFC North. I can't believe I said that out loud, but I don't think I'm being reactionary to a primetime game here. I think what Fields is doing is sustainable, and the fact that the Bears came into that game plan against Belichick and had kind of the exact right game plan called to really kind of stick it in his eye. Like Belichick has there are some Belichick busters, like the cover 2 busters that are out there. He has some busters. He's never really had a good kind of defense to solve the mobile quarterback. And they came into that game and they ran effectively in the first half. And then they pivoted to other, kind of the counter moves as soon as the Patriots adjusted, and it was really masterful. I have a whole new level of respect for the Bears offensive coordinator and sort of their conceptual framework now that they've seen what works and they know they can keep doing
Nick
that.
has hit it on the head. Drew's gone mad with power. Because you said the same thing about Carolina too. You're just like, everybody's live to win everything.
Everybody is.
People.
But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. You ready?
I don't know. They got a few tough games.
Let me name for you the quarterbacks that are succeeding in the NFL.
So I just want to take a timeout because I get where you're going with this. I don't know if we have time to go deep into this one, but the Vikings schedule. I mean, basically, the Vikings schedule's too soft for this to happen.
The Vikings can lose 3 of their next 4 starting this week.
Maybe. I actually bet against. We'll get to that. I bet against the Vikings on this one, but
I did too.
The Vikings probably just go 2-2. Even if they go 2-2. It's just a big gap because I don't have the Bears winning this game. I think this spread is too big. Although at the same time, it's essentially what
the Vikings have only won 3 divisional games. All 3 were home games, so they still have to go on the road to Chicago, on the road to Green Bay. If Fields can manifest anything, and again, they're trading away Robert Quinn, and there's so many ways.
Yeah, I'm so out on this one, Drew.
I'm not going to try to make the sale. I just want to point out one thing that was very clear, because honestly, like, the Bears have proven it. They've got the nucleus is in place, coach, quarterback, everything solid. They need to now lose and accumulate draft choices. They need to continue to.
They're 0-2 in the division already.
They need to lose now. They need to trade away exactly like what they did with Quinn. They should have gotten more for him probably, but those kind of moves are what they ought to be doing right now. Their defense played well enough. They can ship some of those pieces. They can get more draft capital for the future, but they can build around Fields. I absolutely believe that right now. And one of the reasons I think they can is because you look at the quarterbacks that are succeeding in the NFL right now. Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, Josh Allen, Geno Smith. The through line here are these guys are decent. Pat Mahomes even. These guys are decent mobile quarterbacks that can do the easy stuff, right? And so in an era where everybody's playing 2 high safeties and everybody's just giving you the easy stuff, and you have a little bit of Marcus Mariota, like the quarterbacks, PJ Walker. Like the quarterbacks that are exceeding expectations this season are all guys that can do the easy stuff and they can scramble. And I kind of feel like that's what's going to work as long as this is the 2 high stuff is sort of the prevailing defense.
Being 2.5 back from Minnesota and being 0-2 in division it's a lot. So I get what you're saying, but I'm with you. They should lose.
Because the guys who have struggled, Brady, Rodgers, Stafford, Jimmy G. What's this? Carr. Matt Ryan. There's a commonality between what is working and what's not. Right now.
Guys who would have crushed in '98.
Yeah, they're getting crushed.
They followed the Peyton Manning path.
Yeah. So
okay.
Anyway, if you have a mobile quarterback, I think
we're gonna. Yeah, Kiki Dookie says once we get to the Houston Tennessee game, we're gonna.
I want
nothing to do with
the
that
Texans.
division.
The Texans.
All right, on this game, how do you feel about this total, real quick? 42
I think it's right. So Cowboys haven't been tested with the mobile quarterbacks really, but Micah Parsons is a fucking monster, and he's going to be able to run down Fields in this game. In fact, Fields probably on injury watch. I mean, he's going to get cracked. He might get hit quite a bit. Yes, this is not going to be one that will be fun to watch. The thing I need to kind of one other kind of comment about this game and Cowboys in general, I don't even know why. I think it's because I was traveling, and I was like I upped my podcast intake times 20 this week just because I was traveling. Around, I'm always. I listened to the Russillo pod where he was talking to Pete Schrager of Football Morning in America or whatever, Good Morning Football, and they were making a combined effort to try to put Mike Parsons in the MVP race, which is fucking laughable. There are 2 people in the MVP race, period. It is Mahomes and Allen, and it ends there. But it was hysterical for a couple reasons. Number one, people's short-term memory is hysterical. Like the Eagles and the Bills are on bye for 1 week, and it's like people forgot they existed.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't see Josh Allen play last week. Is he bad now? Like that was kind of like the sentiment. They couldn't even really say why he wasn't really a good candidate, other than they haven't seen him in a week. But just the fact is,
it's like your dog when you leave in the morning and they
yeah. Did you die?
yeah. Where it happened?
Where have you been? But the other point was, though, if people are going to start actually if they're going to try to make a case for Micah Parsons for MVP, like they've already written in the name for DPOI. Like that race is
that number
OVER over.
I think he could get hurt with like 5 games left and maybe still win it.
I think that's probably true. And I mean, it's
can't
not
get hurt right now.
Non-zero risk of injury, but put this under your hat. I mean, there's a chance he locks it up with a kill in the game against the Bears. But Cowboys go on bye, and then they have a million high-profile games. And so I think if the cycle continues and people forget that a player exists because he's on bye, maybe we buy.
Maybe we get a Micah Parsons number there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna parlay that with everything. That'll be fun. I'm agreeing on this total. I think the Cowboys probably do similar. We see similar offensive output to what we saw last week. Maybe easing Dak in again. Although I also got to
apologize. I got to apologize to Dak. I was a little harsh on him on Sunday's pod. I went back and rewatched a ton of that, and he was substantially better than Cooper Rush. And I think the Dallas Cowboys they still are not a bet for me in the futures market, but they are clearly in the top 2 in the NFC in my mind.
Sure.
Moving on.
Las Vegas at New Orleans. This was an over, I bet, on Sunday.
Well played.
You can still find a 49, which I think that exists if you have enough outs and you look around enough. I don't think that's a terrible bet. I still agree with this over. I was hoping it would come down so I could get more, because there is a bunch of illness running through the camp now. So we've got a bunch of Raiders who are sick. Again, it's only Wednesday. We've got
Max Crosby.
I think it was mostly receivers. I think it was Devontae Adams was listed as one of them. That makes me nervous. But Waller trending in, that's good for the offense. It is going to be Andy Dalton, which, again, I'm fine with. It has not seemed to matter what the personnel is for offense. They could put the defense out there on offense, and they'd still just score 24 somehow. It is unsolvable, but Kamara brings, a lot to the table. Obviously, he's a name that just doesn't get brought up with the good running backs anymore for some reason. And I know he's been in and out, and he might be out next year after he has to go to court, but there's a decent chance we're going to get some receivers back here. I don't care if it's Andy Dalton. I don't think that's a huge downgrade. If he's not throwing it to the other team, we're seeing some pretty nice, offense, honestly, out of this team.
Yeah, we are.
And the Raiders defense, Max Crosby's great, but you can beat this team on the back end. And I do believe in this Raiders offense as well, just based on the stats suss this out. This should be like, I said I wanted to make it 49 or higher on the Sunday pod. And the more I look at this, that's probably still low. So,
okay.
47.5, I think I have in a pocket at a cheap number. So that's making me happy.
I don't get the Saints, except their defense is playing quite poorly.
That's a problem. You can't put Lattimore on Adams right
That's
now.
A huge problem. That's the game, basically. And that's why I didn't bet the Saints win. Otherwise, I would have shown value on them in this spot at that price. I think the Saints are weird because the Saints' 2 wins could easily have been losses. Like, they very, very easily could be 0-7 right now. But they're playing kind of fine. They really, really blew it because the NFC South has been so bad. Like,
they should have won in London.
They should have won in London. They should have won last week. Maybe not last week, but they should have won in London. They should have won in. There was one other one. There are a couple of games that they realistically should have gotten wins. And if they're 4-3 instead of 2-5, all of a sudden they're thinking this is our division. And so they really whiffed big time on this. No play for me on this one, but well done on the overplay. Good job by you. Let's move on to Carolina, Atlanta. A tilt in the NFC South that people will immediately forget happened about 5 minutes after this game is over. I've thought and looked hard at playing the Panthers all week. I've thought hard and looked at playing the over all week. I haven't done any of it. Really, the market is telling you that the Falcons cluster injury at cornerback matters. I 100% agree. But the Panthers aren't a team that I think can realistically take advantage of that. I am going to sit on my opinion on this one, see what happens, watch it play out. I think if you're going to play anything in this game, you're looking for a Panthers money line.
Straight up. Oh, you read my mind. I love that. And yes, I same as you, I agree with this move. The Panthers defense, despite some injuries,
has
really composed itself well. They've been good. And yes, as Dan points out, if Tampa were to lose tomorrow, this is a spot where the Falcons could take sole possession of first place with a home win in a game that they're favored in a season where we were saying if everything goes right, they're picking number one. So they've overachieved despite throwing the ball. I think if it weren't for the Bears, this would be talked about more. How little the Falcons throw the ball, because the Bears are just, when somebody does something amazing, but when somebody else is doing it a little more amazinger, that's who you talk about. And that's not a word, but they are very, very, very committed to the run, no matter who the player is. Even if you've never heard of this person, he's going to get 15 carries in this system.
And
so
I gotta ask.
I wanted to bet this over because I really think this Falcons defense can be just thrashed, but the Panthers got to come back to earth a little. I don't think that offense is very good because it's missing a bunch of players that got traded, and it has a XFL quarterback. But man, I worry that the Falcons don't contribute to this, and that's why I think if you are going to bet the Panthers, it might just be a straight up. This could be a really ugly, 20-10 Panthers win, where the Panthers don't actually do that much. It's just their defense is able to hold this Falcons offense kind of down. So I hate looking at an under in this one because it's a Falcons game, and that secondary could just get thrashed. But this was 7. I mean, people grabbed some really good numbers in the Panthers on the way down. Congratulations.
Well played. Pass for me. Quick thought on a look ahead number. Falcons host the Chargers coming off of bye next week.
Host the Chargers.
Host the Chargers. You got to guess for me at what the spread and total are.
Chargers coming in as, oh man, it's hard to tell who's healthy for the Chargers ever.
Coming off a bye, so it's
Chargers
not gonna be Mike Williams, but Keenan Allen will be there.
I'm going to make it an expensive 2.5.
Okay, that's probably where it goes.
And I'm going to set, I'm like 2.5 minus 120, and I'm going to set the total at 49.
Yeah, so it's 47.5, which I think is a very bettable over.
I'm surprised.
The Chargers can't stop the run. That's all the Falcons do.
I was going to say the matchup for them.
Justin Herbert going up against this pass defense is ooh la la. I don't care who he's throwing to.
Tyler Algier? I'm not even trying to say his name right.
They say Justin Lawrence, Justin Herbert.
Algier, most rushing yards that week at whatever fuck his number is. Those are the guys who are 4 for 4 always are betting those because they find just ridiculous numbers on guys with huge upside. And our guy Daigle, he hit one a couple weeks ago at like 35-1 or something fun. So,
this week is a don't. This week is a don't overthink it, and I will get there because there's an obvious who's going to get the most rushing yards this week. Put it under your hat for now. Yeah. Philly at Pittsburgh. If ever there were a spot for the Eagles not to show up, this is probably it. They're up against a super inferior opponent coming off of a bye after going into the bye with a huge divisional win. What's your take?
Yeah.
Tiny hands Pickett.
When we get to these games between a top 5 and let's just say a bottom 5, even though the bottom 5 is getting kind of crowded, if that makes any sense. It's hard for me to really put a true price on these games. I generally avoid them. I keep going back to the Panthers-Rams game because that just felt like, it was so odd for me to say, but it's like, if I wanted to bet the Rams, I could have bet the Rams at like 7.5, and that'd have been my limit. But I would have needed like 13 to bet the Panthers. Doesn't make any sense. Like there's like such a thick middle of no value for me.
You're just saying that in general the distribution is flat, so there's which happens.
I think for most of these games between and in that one, truthfully, it was a little different because that Rams offense was really, really struggling, still kind of is. Whereas this Eagles offense doesn't struggle, but it does tend to all happen at once the second quarter. And then just, if they are a
It
team with the lead,
concentrates.
they're really
temporally.
they're really good at just getting to triple zeros without having to do too much in the second half. So I don't know what to do with this game. I have no idea what to do with this total. I want Robert Quinn to have like 5 sacks because that'll be funny.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna learn something about presumptive coach of the year Nick Sirianni if he has his guys focused and sharp in this one, and they come out and hang a beat on the Steelers. The Eagles, you would think like you should be looking ahead at their schedule as like, are they looking ahead to opponent? But they don't play anyone tough until Christmas Eve when they play the Cowboys, so they're probably never really looking ahead here.
Yeah, Philly first half, Philly second quarter, Philly first quarter, Philly Eagles first half team total over. Pick your poison if you want to get involved. I'm not going to.
A lot of advantages here for the Eagles as long as they show up and they play a median quality of football. They get this.
Our friend Adam Rodriguez points out, coming out of the bye, playing the Steelers and the Texans. We talked about this. I feel like we talked about this so much in the preseason. Like
so many times.
Eagles' schedule is pretty soft. So
why am I just learning about this?
Yeah, hopefully they don't. I feel like Sirianni's a good enough coach. He's probably the coach of the year, honestly. Let's put that out in the universe. He's a good enough coach to not let them have a down spot. Especially, he has a beautiful example in his pregame warm-up speech. He's like, the fucking Jaguars are up on us, 14 to fucking. You remember that, boys? We can't have that Andy, shit. That's what I would do. I would yell at him.
Andy, the next 4 quarterbacks that the Eagles have to face are Kenny Pickett, Davis Mills, Taylor Heineke, and Sam Ellinger. Murderers fucking row. Unbelievable. They get to 28 points in every one of those games. They win without sweating, I feel like.
Yeah, that's the issue. This is kind of, and Wilkman's pointing it out. If you're sick of Wong teasers, let's bet non-Wong teasers. This is kind of a weird secondary zone. We've shown it's not enough to like beat the market over a big sample, but teasing through 10, 7, and 6 isn't nearly as bad as basically anything else outside of Wong. So let's get goofy with the guys and
get it on.
Miami, Detroit.
Let's get it on.
So you said you were too hard on Dak.
I was, yeah.
When you watched that game, I watched some highlights. I looked at some grades. Sure. I went back and looked at the box score on this. I went back and looked at specific plays because this really stuck in my craw. I don't think I was hard enough on Tua. He threw like 7 interceptions in this game, and it's just a matter of like it doesn't technically count as an interception unless the other team recepts it, and they didn't recept
completes the act of makes a football move, right?
So I get that this is a really beleaguered defense, and it's a team you can beat up on, but it's on the road. We just saw Tua not looking super good in I guess a game that turned out okay, but I don't know. Like I'm not super trustworthy of laying the Dolphins on the other side of the 3 on the road against anyone, much less the team where I don't think their pass rush is going to get much done. A rested team, if you will, because they didn't have to do much on offense in that game against the Cowboys. I don't know.
Yeah, so Goff is a problem. He is performing very poorly.
Charles Saul points this out too. This has me thinking. You know how there's the thing about punt returners have trouble with left-footed punters because it spins the wrong way?
Oh,
I wonder if guys are dropping the ball because the ball's
it.
spinning the opposite way. This guy's got to go play in Australia for a year or two.
I love this. Love that theory. I guess the issue I would have about taking the points to the Lions here and why I didn't bet this game is Goff is struggling, and Mike McDaniel in the scripted portion of the game is fucking amazing.
Doesn't that lead you to a live bet?
I think it does. I think if you want Lions, wait until it's 7-10 point margin for the Dolphins and get involved, or play an under at that point, something like that. Something weird like that. I thought the Dolphins defense looked pretty decent, so maybe they've snapped out of it. I don't know. Not a real strong impression in that game. What has to happen for Hutch DROI to be live? Because he has 4.5 sacks now. I'm not sure if you saw.
Yeah, if he got to double-digit sacks and maybe we had some footage of Gardner getting burnt once or twice, that would be helpful. What are you doing? What was that?
My lights went off. I don't understand why. It's
Did you have the clapper? What were you doing? So
I was trying to. I feel like it was because I wasn't moving enough, and the sensor trying to do an energy saving thing. This fucking new hotels.
Oh, California,
unbelievable.
Yeah, in Minnesota they don't have that. Like they have extra lights. we're on coal power, guys. But yeah, I mean, there's a case for this. There might be a case for this over. If you think that the Lions defense is just that bad, and the Lions getting some of the, the skill position players back and healthy, do they get back to the point where what we saw early in the season, where this team was really actually kind of humming along? That was sometimes against a bad defense. Like Seattle hadn't quite found itself yet on some of the things they're doing yet. So Minnesota isn't a good defense. I mean, they aren't. So some of the games where they were able to score, they were playing bad defense. This is a home game. Yeah,
I mean, at the same time,
this is a secondary you can attack if you're
the Lions are in a unique position where they are the only team in the NFL eliminated from the playoffs, and so they can tank and go get a quarterback next year, and that's because Goff's not it. We know sincerely now that he needs to move on, and so I don't know. Does Dan Campbell change his tact? Are they really trying to win anymore? I don't know. I can't bet the Lions.
I wouldn't be
at any point here. Let's keep moving to.
We've got a definite podcast listeners joining us live. It's so weird listening at 1x. I'll try to talk faster. I'll raise the pitch of my voice a little for you, Steve. The second half of the slate, I did bet Arizona.
I did too.
3.5.
I took the money.
I came to this conclusion yesterday talking to Jimmy, and finally I just said, why haven't I bet this yet? I'm going to bet this.
We didn't even talk about this. We did it completely in the blind. Yeah,
I haven't talked to you much. You've been busy with earthquake life, but it sounds like we both are in agreement. Let's hear your reasons first, and I'll expound on anything I don't think you hit.
I think the Vikings are about to go through hell. I don't think this team is very good. The market has inflated them. I think when you have a team that's not very good, but they've done well win-loss, and they go into a bye, if there's ever a time that gets cold water thrown on them, it's now. I don't like their matchup against a mobile quarterback. I like what a 10 days of prep does for the Cardinals in terms of getting Kyler Murray and Hopkins on the same page here. I like Hopkins' matchup against this Vikings secondary. I like Eno Benjamin. That guy's got some freaking pop. He could play for me anytime. That guy's good. JJ Watt got that new dad energy. No? Did he have a kid?
Maybe he did have a baby. Minnesota does have sex boat parties sometimes, yes, Patrick. Yeah, that was a concern for me last week was, hey, can they integrate a new receiver and a receiver who hasn't played yet this year into this offense?
Sure.
If they can, quickly. These are both guys who have the upside of, top 10 receivers, one probably top 5 receiver, like Hopkins, we're not that far out from him being a top 5 receiver who was still playing for like a pretty shitty team.
Yep.
Like this is a team with more talent than a lot of those Texans teams had at times. Yeah, Eno Benjamin is the ultimate poster child for, my God, don't trade for a running back. Just go find whoever. Just go find whoever. But Arizona's defense still not there. This
still
total
sucks.
This total seems a little low because I almost bet Cardinals and the over. I hate getting on 2 different bets on the same game. I do that very infrequently, but yeah, the Minnesota secondary is bad. Like Patrick Peterson is washed. This is Patrick Peterson a revenge game, I guess. So maybe he tries to jump a route and just gets fucking burnt. But everybody besides Harrison Smith is below average. Cam Dantzler's not good. Like it's a bad secondary. It's a bad coverage unit for the most part in the linebackers. And if you're not getting the pass rush home, which has been, they're good names, it's just not completely working out yet. this is a pretty bad defense. And if the Cardinals were able to get Hopkins involved that much and get him on track that much in a short week, now they have 10 days to do it. They've got a secondary weapon now. I don't know if the defense has to be good to stay with this Vikings team.
Right.
This might be why the fuck did I take the points here when the Cardinals are up by 10 in the second quarter?
Yeah, I played some Cardinals points. I played some
Brandon.
That's the right side here. Man,
oh man,
no question.
I never know if it's a silent E at the end on some of these names. I'm going to call Pensabane. Pensabini sounds way more fun. Honestly, I would change it to that if I were you, Brandon. But Brandon says what I was thinking. Cardinals team total over. Hey, I like the Cardinals. Hey, I like the over. Add those two together and you get Cardinals, like 21.5? Yeah. That's my secret pod player ready, guys.
That's good. Also, Kyler Murray more willing to run early in games. I think a lot of Kyler Murray's struggles in the first third of the season were really born out of not wanting to get hit. He looks like, hey man, I got paid. Like I don't need to put my body in harm's way now. But the losing looks to have kind of changed his tune in terms of what he's willing to do to, kind of move the chains. So
they're super live to win this division. If they can go, get a few games going, everybody in the West is
part of that was live. Part of my plan of betting the Seahawks was ultimately coming in on the Cardinals at the right time. But I think betting them last week, betting them this week is going to be fine. Good enough. Yeah. Vikings on the other hand, Cardinals, Commies, Bills, Cowboys. Yikes! If they drop either of these games to Cardinals, Commies, then Vikings are staring at 1-3. So all of a sudden,
I do think they go 2. I think they go 2-2 in that stretch.
You think they beat the Cardinals and the Commies, or they beat the Commies and one other of the good teams?
I think it's a Commies good teams stretch.
Okay.
I just hate this spot. I don't think the Commies can take advantage of them, and then 2-2 feels about right. They're going to be one of the bad division winners. So All right, so we're on the Cardinals. I'm probably going to play the team total over. I'll see if those
let's revisit that. Patriots embarrassed on Monday Night Football. Belichick is doing what?
Shame.
I mean, for crying out loud. That was awful game planning, awful in-game adjusting. The idea of putting Mac out there and pulling him, benching him in-game, at home in prime time with a lathered up crowd was career sabotage. In the best career sabotage if it was intentional, and malpractice if it was not intentional. Giving Zappy the good plays right after making Mac look so bad was also weird. I don't really have a good read on what the fuck is going on there. A lot of self-sabotage by the Patriots. Belichick's just trying to make it hard on himself to win, I guess, because he's bored. I don't know.
He cranked it up to expert mode.
He's trying to get all the weird achievements. I'm going to finish above 500 with 4 cornerbacks with last name Jones. Like that's the achievement I'm going for this year.
Yeah.
It's very strange. The Jets, on the other hand, are continuing to put together wins, even in spite of the fact that Zach Wilson is currently the worst quarterback starting. I think everybody that's been worse than Wilson has been benched now. So Wilson is the 32nd best quarterback. I guess you can't really put him against guys we don't know, like Ellinger, and you can't put him below guys like Ellinger and PJ Walker, who have yet to really compile any type of, or Heineke. But I don't think you can, again, he's the lowest quarterback of all of the bona fide starters, right?
Yeah. Well.
Who would Mills worse?
Ellinger.
Well, and I'm saying, but bona fide start, like the guys who are
bona
the
fide starter now. I know. You're probably right. Like somebody who was the team's first plan to go in
He's the last of plan.
This is an interesting. We've been full of conspiracy theories out of the chat. You guys are watching too much InfoWars, but I love this one too. I love them all. Did Belichick tank because he didn't want to beat Hallis's all-time record against the Bears because he has that much respect for Virginia McCaskey, Hallis, whatever, Ford Field, or am I even saying the right owner? But I don't know. And also the I don't think the ball hit the Skycam wire.
No,
That wire, the shot is moving, so it looks like the wire's moving.
It didn't.
I think that was just bad luck, like a bad angle. I don't know.
I thought I saw another angle that showed it definitely was clear. Like it wasn't really close.
Shit there though.
Yeah.
Breece Hall absolutely matters. The offense really took some step forwards once he started to get involved, not only as a running back like he should, but as a pass catching running back. I think that's a big problem. They still have some good receivers. Patriots defense will play a lot better this week just because that's got to be the focus of practice. I want to bet the Patriots here. The Patriots are the right side. I almost bet the Patriots at 1.5, but everything that Bill did last week with the varying reports about which quarterback's going to start and just the rookie level coach shit that we saw where he's like letting Max start even though he's going to play both guys both halves or something.
Atrocious.
I'm out on what's happening there from the head down, so I'm not excited about this. I think the Patriots bounce back and get a win here against a neutered Jets offense. At some points, I think this Jets defense is overrated. They have some really well graded out players. I don't know if it's sustainable. We'll see. That's another reason I'm uncertain if I have a right mark, if the market rating is right for this defense. I think it might be too high, but I'm unsure. I have my, like Meryl Streep said, I have my doubts.
I'm extremely
I don't know what to
angry.
do with the Jets at all.
I am like finger on the button, ready to fucking mash fade Jets. Like they are like the loss of Hall matters. The injuries to the offensive line matter.
Yeah, they lost some pieces on the offensive line. It's getting to be a cluster injury at this point.
Yes, it is. And like this Jets offense is not getting to 21 points without defensive scores. The problem is, how in the world do you bet the Patriots with what Belichick just did to the two quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
Like, which quarterback is playing with confidence in this game? You're going to throw Mac right back into the fire, and hey, go target Sauce Gardner a couple of times.
Yeah, we trust.
Good luck.
I was just kidding. That was just a prank.
Me,
Bill Belichick always pranking players.
Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Oh, you got punked.
Yeah. So this is Patriots or pass. I didn't bet it, and I'm gonna probably feel stupid when it's like 21-3 or 21-0, because that's what this feels like. Jets can't beat these guys even when they're having a good season. So if ultimately I'm wrong about the Jets a bunch more, so be it. But this Jets team looks so primed to be faded because Zach Wilson is performing like extremely poorly. Just a guy can't make plays, and that against the Belichick defense with the pass defense in particular, I don't know. It's gonna sound stupid 2 weeks in a row saying that some young quarterback's gonna get shut out against Belichick, and then he goes and puts on a show against the old dude. So I don't know. Most of the Patriots' issues are they can't stop the run, and the Jets without Hall and without a full complement of offensive linemen aren't going to be able to out physical the Patriots running defense. I don't think. So good luck passing on them.
Tennessee heads to the Gulf Coast, the far west Gulf Coast. Take on the 1-4-1 is such a beautiful symmetrical record. The Titans are not a good team. Mm-hmm. They're not 4-2. Despite their record, I don't understand any of their games or how they ended or how they went. But Derrick Henry's running the ball well, and the Texans' run defense is bad. So just, I guess, like that sort of stuff travels. I have this number. I think this is probably pretty good. I want no part of this game. I don't know what to make of either of these teams. Truthfully, I think you can see a lot of running. That's why this total's 40. Pierce has been great. Cooks is probably a trade block guy at this point. We'll see how that goes. Everybody needs receivers all the time. And then, the Titans, they don't have receivers, really. And Henry's been great. He's been more involved in the passing game over the last 4 weeks or so, and it's worked out a little bit. And it's another soft landing spot. It's another winnable game. The Titans could be a kind of a shitty 5-2 team, but it's a shitty division. What are you going to do? This game stinks. This is a late game where everybody's just going to be watching the Giants, man.
Yes. I think the Texans' record remains symmetrical. 1-5-1. I think they lose. Titans are going to be has the 28th best team in the NFL ever started 5-2. We should look that up. I feel like this is a bad team that is going to just ultimately be in the playoffs. It seems like I can't believe it, but here we are. The Jets, I made a big deal, aren't going to be able to take advantage of going up against the soft run defense in the Patriots because of their personnel. The Titans are going to be able to take advantage of this. Derrick Henry will be your leading rusher on Sunday. I think this Texans defense. I watched some of the clips of up against the Raiders last week. Oh my God. They are exceptionally predictable and so easy to scheme in the running game. Like the fact that if I'm Vrabel and the offensive staff watching that tape, I'm drooling. I am literally like, you mean that's all we got to do to open up those kind of holes, and we're going to let Derrick Henry run through them? Like, he is going to get a monster load on this one and is going to score 3-4 touchdowns. The Titans are getting into the high 20s here. And I think there are enough injuries on the Titans defense and or questions about them to be able to defend that Davis Mills getting some garbage time points, entirely possible. This total of 40.5 is way too low. This should be 44.
I was going to say that the only way I'm concerned about that is if the Texans just don't realize they can probably throw the ball here. Like, it is a good run defense for the Titans.
They're not going to have a choice when it's 28-0.
Well, then you tell that to Arthur Smith. Like, sometimes coaches won't do things. So,
Pep Hamilton, man.
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned the elephant. Yeah, Tannehill, he's not playing. He's not going to start this game, and I don't think this is I don't think it's like a big downgrade or a downgrade at all.
Doesn't matter.
It's not a big difference the way this offense runs. But yes, if this over is going to hit, Lovey has to be willing to realize, like, we can't pound the rock at this. It's a tough rush defense, but we can throw at them. And if they do decide to throw the ball a bunch, I think we do get into the mid to high 40s in this one. So I don't hate that. I don't hate the over here. I'm just not playing this game because the official deep dive powered by BetSperts, Drew and Andy shower fart game of the week of the year.
Official. This is the official shower fart game. The fact that so many meaningful players are dealing with injuries on the Titans defensive side of the ball, particularly Jeffrey Simmons, is really huge here. I think
that was something too, though. The pass rush.
He's so disruptive.
Pass rush got after it a little last week.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was also.
That's why I'm hesitant to take the road. In a divisional game like this between a bad team and a team that is playing, their record doesn't reflect how bad they are. I would be tempted to take this home dog in an ugly game, but that pass rush does scare me a little bit. So
me and you and 9 of your friends could run for 100 yards on the Texans. Like it's crazy.
Back.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Derrick Henry. Let's get it going, buddy. Get me to 41 all by yourself. Let's keep moving to Gigantes at Seattle. Bad spot, Giants. Bad one. A lot of travel.
We bet
lately.
This on Sunday, 2.5.
Flying up to Seattle. Weather looks awful. Seattle has been playing a lot better defensively. Love their matchups against the Giants team that's now missing Evan Neal and Daniel Jones. I mean, congratulations for running for 100 yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do it twice, I dare you. This is a one-dimensional offense that runs through Sack Barkley, and I think the Seahawks are going to be prepared to stop that. And then on the flip side, Ken Walker III, man, it's your time, buddy. Get it done in this game. Geno Smith, perfect complimentary, football that they're playing up in Seattle. Laid the points with these guys on Sunday. Still my favorite side of the week. Let's go Seahawks. Don't let me down, guys.
Yeah, rough travel spots ish, and I know travel's not as bad as it used to be back. Giorgio comes in, he's that kid, shows up to class late, asks what he missed, but no, he did bring up a couple of good points. I don't think Nico Collins plays. He's he's not practicing. Like that's something to kind of monitor. I guess we have a few days left. He could practice later, but groin injuries are kind of lingering for somebody in that kind of position. And I have no idea. I'm not hearing a lot of steam on like a specific team for Cooks. I would think there'd be interest though. That's a really,
who would be a good
target
team? The Giants.
Yeah,
who have no one.
They've invested in young players. So I mean,
they're trying to get rid of
Wandell
those
and
guys.
Tony. I know
They're trying to get rid of Tony. They have Sterling. They have what's the guy's name? Who's with us? Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
they have two guys.
So I bet
Wandell.
the Seattle number, assuming DK doesn't play. If DK's in,
same.
Yeah,
he's
not
even
playing
better.
He's not playing for weeks, guys. I don't think that injury was not something that's like, oh, he'll try to practice later this week.
It doesn't spook me though, honestly. Like the most devastating plays that the Seahawks are running, DK is kind of a decoy. Like he's not really
decoy Metcalf.
He's decoy. Yeah.
I fucking love that so much. We are pleased with ourselves on that one.
I like what he's doing with everybody else, and Gino, that is. And if Gino takes a step back, this is a great spot for Mr. Ken Walker the third.
The third Walker. I am going to play the part of. He does have some now. I think I'm going to play the part of Drew and go into NBA talk. I think the Timberwolves are mad and they were icing Cat because he had like 13 minutes, no points, no rebounds, no assists. I think they were mad at him because they called Anthony Edwards.
Because he called Edwards,
and then they just didn't pass him the ball at all, which is hilarious. But he did end up on the score sheet. Now he's 7-2-2. With a steal, but back to football. New York Football Giants find a little bump in the road. We like the Seahawks at -2.5.
Yes,
I'd play -3 if it's a cheap one. This is some fun offenses, so I'm excited to watch this one. Yeah, that sucks about Evan Neal, but that matters. He's an important piece of that line. Both teams had a bad injury this week. We'll see who can make the better of it. I'm hoping it is the Pacific Northwesterners heading to Lucas Oil, Washington Commandos. This is another one I bet early in the week at 4. I don't think this is going to get the amount of steam it needs to like truly +3. I think we're kind of just probably stuck here. You're still paying. So it's +3 -120 right now. I guess maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, that would be interesting. So Ellinger is not an NFL level quarterback. He was decent with his legs down in Austin. I don't know if that translates to the NFL right off the bat. I don't know what the game plan with him is. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't love where this team is probably, and I hate to try to figure out the psychology of it, but this is, I brought this up with Jimmy. I'm like, this is a workplace. When you work somewhere, when shit's going wrong. Like you see the bosses meeting and like there's extra meetings and they're staying late. And like the fact that they had the owner and the GM and the coach all get together and they come out and they say this is a decision to bench Matt Ryan as a team. I felt like they kind of had a conversation. They said, bench your quarterback, fire your OC, or start looking for a new job. Like those are your options, and say, well, Matt Ryan will take this well. He's an older man. He's fine. He's mature enough to handle this at this point in his life because it's a weird situation with this team. I think Reich is on fucking thin ice. And it's been a bunch of, and I feel for him because they have a bunch of really skilled players, Pittman, Hines, JT, and on defense too with Darius Sack Leonard. It is just been really bad luck with injuries on all the most important spots. I don't think it was destined to be a horrible team this year. It's just been a horrible start, and now they're compounding it. I don't know if it's a true like, hey, we should tank now because what's the point of trying in this conference? If you guys met Josh Allen, do you really want to go to the playoffs as a wild card? Like, should we try to find a quarterback? Because we've been doing this for 5 goddamn years now after Andrew left, and we should actually get something that's going to work. Yeah, and the O-line, Sam Sutton's pointing this out in the chat. The O-line was supposed to be a strength of this team. It's been poor. Like, I would bet the Commanders at a cheap 3. I'm fine with this. Heineke's an upgrade. We've seen they have 2 good receivers. That's enough. That's more than some teams have. They have some semblance of an offensive game plan, and and Jack Del Rio did what Bill Belichick couldn't. He kept the Bears offense to a minimum.
That's a good point. That's fair. Not stopping anyone from taking the commies, or as our friend Heck calls them, the C words. That's
jarring every time.
It cracks me up.
What's he writing? Oh, it's Washington.
It's Washington. Yeah. Did you think it was the right move to bench Ryan?
It depends what your plan is. Like, if you want to start losing and end up at like 3-15-1, that doesn't even come close to add up. That's like 19 games.
That would be crazy. 3-13-1. Yeah.
3-13-1. Then yeah, like, if you want to get one of these top 3 quarterbacks, I'd start Sam Ehlinger. Like, I'd start my sister. Like, okay. Yeah, let's tank. I think it is the right move because, man, you have some guys that are pretty young, pretty early in their contracts, early in their careers. Like, if you can get a dynamic quarterback on the right kind of contract, Holt says Commanders to win the NFC East. Come on. That's going to be a thing all goddamn year now. But and yeah, you don't.
My price, my fare for that is like 200 to 1, probably.
Yeah, I would like to see the Colts get their quarterback. I've kind of got a soft spot for Reich. I have a soft spot for this team. They have a lot of other pieces in place. It's just so heartbreaking to see a team put 99% when it's 99% of the team and then the 1% is the actual position that matters, not work out. It's so tough. So hopefully they're tanking. And yeah, I like the Commanders to probably win this one, but definitely getting anything 3 or better. Close game. I don't think the Colts offense is going to instantly react to the quarterback change and suddenly be good. That said, the Commanders offense isn't something to write home about every week. They only did score 12 in that Bears game, but
you know what though, Andy? The total's 39.5, which means it's an overplay because I got to tell you what, this total went the wrong direction. You switch Matt Ryan for Sam Ehlinger, your total should go up. Not because the offense is going to be all that much better, but now you've introduced a whole bunch of chaos plays. They have we don't know what Sam Ehlinger's offense is going to look like. The commies certainly don't. The commies don't really have an offense to defend a mobile quarterback very, very well. We saw what teams like, with Jalen Hurts did to these guys. I'm not saying that Ehlinger is going to look like Hurts, but certainly with the added degree of mobility in an offense that can't pass protect, that should help raise the Colts floor. Much fewer just absolute devastating stop plays here from the commies, and possibility that Ehlinger turns the ball over. Some pick six optionality, some strip sack fumble optionality here. There are opportunities for defenses to score in this game that there were not with Matt Ryan out there, I think.
And Dan in timeout for continue. We're gonna say Ehlinger. Can we? It's Ehlinger.
Is it Ehlinger?
I hate that.
That's awful. That. Do not like.
Ehlinger.
I think
has 9 career receptions at Texas.
Do we see a little trickery?
Do we see a trick play? I just want to be able to clip this in case he catches a touchdown or something. So
I like it. There's going to be some crazy stuff here that the Colts score. The commies have the best player in the game in Terry McLaurin. He torched Jair Alexander last week. He can absolutely repeat that against Stephon Gilmore this week. He's got some solid chemistry going with Taylor Heineke. Heineke's the same way. Good. Yeah, Heineke brings chaos to the game too. He should have had 2 should have provided 2 defensive touchdowns to the Packers last week. So there's crazy chaos potentially here, and I like what I saw from the Commies offense generally with Heineke last week. So I think this is going to be a higher scoring game than the implied 40 points, and I have bet 2 AFC South games this week, which is a weird thing for me to do. I've played the over in both, which is insane. And so we can have a good laugh at this on Sunday if I'm wrong, which is entirely possible. But playing overs this time of the season in the NFL when totals have gotten all the way down to 40 feels like a buy low, just in general, in terms of macro stuff. And got a hat tip a little bit to the guy who I think is writing the best content out there and has maybe the best read on macro NFL right now, and our buddy Ben Solak from The Ringer.
Ben Solak is
he's crushing it. He's crushing it, and I thought he was all over this in the right ways. And so tailing a little bit of his conceptual framework here and playing an over.
Nate Tice at The Athletic, I'll always read stuff he puts out. I believe that's who I quoted with some of those Justin Fields stats and Ben Solak at The Ringer. Like, those are ones, if they write stuff, I'm taking the time to read it on football. It's always
absolutely
insightful. And Washington, while you joked about making the division, not super dead to make the playoffs. I know their schedule isn't super great. Obviously, they have to play the Eagles because they're in division, and they have to play those again. But maybe they
too, right?
The Giants, but the Giants are starting to get beat up. If they win this, they have the Texans, they have the Falcons. They probably could split with the Giants. They have a Browns team that might be tanking later in the season. Going to the Niners is tough, and then I guess they close with the Cowboys. And maybe it is kind of a tough ask. That's the thing too.
Not crazy.
Historically, if you have to win versus Dallas to make the playoffs, I just don't trust that.
No.
Commies have traditionally done pretty poorly against McCarthy.
Yeah, and I mean, we're assuming that they don't try to trot Wentz back out there. The last kind of subtle thing I wanted to ask you, if this is crazy or not, and I know we're kind of out of time here. I think we'll cover it on the.
We'll cover it. We'll do some.
It involves Irsay. It involves Irsay versus that stupid asshole Snyder, the commander in chief. Funny little subtext to that game.
I bet the Niners -1. I made this decision yesterday.
I did not bet this game because I'm on suspension from betting the Niners.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't been able to get either of these teams right, and I just said, Andy, should I maybe not think about this and just look at the raw numbers on what this offense can be? And I know they're beat up in the secondary, but being beat up in the secondary and being forced to play a soft, ugly, weak, shitty, poopy, terrible zone defense against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is one thing. Having to do that against a team that you've continually been able to outmaneuver, out-scheme, and outplay over the course of these two coaches' careers, like, it's not the same, even if it is on the road. It's not a good home field advantage for the Rams, and Niners should probably be, -3 here. Honestly, if I'm looking at how I see it, you get McCaffrey with a full week of practice, you're starting to get a little healthier. I'm not a big Jimmy G guy, but this Rams offense is not good. Cam Akers, I want to know what Cam Akers did. Has anyone again, we don't have time for this, but hit me up if anyone has the fun rumors on that, what the disconnect between him and the team is right now.
It might have just been that McVay did some self-scouting.
Yeah, he watched his film and he fucking hates him. But I don't know what to do here other than bet the 49ers to easily move against this defense. Ayuk's been great. They have so many skill position players. Like, this 49ers team is 3-4, and they have the absolute ability to reach the NFC title game, possibly further. If they're fully healthy, what are they, like 4-point dogs in Philly?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's
fully healthy. 3.
So that's a game that's close enough to a close enough to a toss-up where this team can do the stupid thing where it's like, man, I didn't think much of this team all year, and here they are in the fucking NFC title game again. But I like the offense. I hate the Rams offense. I think this should be 3. I don't know about Debo. Debo, the injury news is still always troubling, but it is the Niners. Not one of my stronger positions, but I make this much bigger than the one I got yesterday.
Good bet. I'm on.
You're on double secret probation.
Not only did I make the very wrong decision last time these two teams played, but I continue to guess wrong trying to capture the zigzagging Niners, who are just a complete unpredictable mess to me. So pass.
Kyron Williams. And then we're not going to spend much time on this either. This is one where, oh man,
Packers are pass.
The stupid narrative is, get off my lawn, old man. Like, this is the Josh Allen truly kicks out the greatest generation of quarterbacks by just dropping a goddamn 50 burger on the Packers because they can. This defense is taking a massive downgrade in my market ratings, in the actual market ratings, in the eye test, the product on the field, and the stats. This is one of those where the only way this over doesn't get there is just a really quiet second half that truthfully has a really decent chance of happening.
I thought you were going to say that Bass misses 2 extra points.
Yeah. No,
so Bills only score 47.
It does seem like, and I get it that the Bills have kept the foot on the gas in a lot of games over the years in this regime, but this could be one of those where they're just up, like 28-10, 28-7. And the second half is truly and utterly a slog, and you just never quite get there. This total has a wide range of just, if this goes over, there could be 70 points, and the Bills could have 60 of them. It's the limit for this Bills offense is way higher than even what we've seen. How many fourth quarters has Josh Allen played? It's only been like 3. I think Drew just left.
I didn't. I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
I got a text.
I was going to say the lights really went out that time. So, it's Packers or pass, which means it's absolutely pass.
Absolutely pass.
It is a team without a leader right now. He is saying terrible things.
I'm enjoying the downfall of Aaron Rodgers, and now that effectively Baker Mayfield, I've gotten my revenge on him personally. I will now root for the continued downfall of Aaron Rodgers and his comments about guys shouldn't be getting playing time. Despicable, absolutely despicable. No, it's not what leaders do, and we've talked about what a bad leader he is. And we should ask Dan to go clip the Green Bay Packer quotes from the offseason, because guess what? You got paid a fuck ton of money, and they are in this position because of you. And you can't now act like this when you're playing so poorly. So, best of luck to you. I hope you continue to be miserable.
Schadenfreude, darling, Schadenfreude. I love it when you hate a team. So, Drew, I know you have something to do. I don't know what it is.
I gotta get
Hopefully
going.
It's a date. It's only 6:15 out there. I suppose
professional dinner I'm heading to. So,
all right. Well, you look okay. Like, do
Thanks,
something
man.
with your hair. But
I will. Yeah. All right. Take it easy.
I'll catch
guys.
you on the flippy flop.
See ya.
I'd be remiss not to point this out. Guy in the hot dog suit. Yeah, Rodgers. Definitely. We're all trying to find out who did this to our offense.